Listen to this, Lakers fans, because I need every single one of y'all fully tapped in right now. Go grab your phone, pick up the remote, sit down for a second, and really pay attention because what I'm about to break down could completely reshape the future of the Los Angeles Lakers moving forward. We are talking about once-in-a-generation type news here. Girl, I was sitting there this morning watching First Take like I always do with my coffee, and I literally had to stop mid-sip, rewind the television, and run it back because I could not believe what was coming out of my speakers. Rob Pelinka, the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers, was sitting across from Stephen A. Smith and ended up saying something so shocking, so flat-out insane that the entire studio looked frozen for a second. And I'm dead serious when I say that. I've covered this team for years now, and I cannot remember another Lakers executive being this direct, this fearless, and this aggressive talking about a possible trade target while national cameras were rolling. If you're really a Lakers fan and you actually care about where this franchise is headed next, then you need to hear every single detail from what happened today. Trust me, this was not one of those random league sources believe type stories. Nah, this came directly from Pelinka himself. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Real quick, before we get deeper into this situation, smash that like button because that honestly decides whether this video reaches a few people or explodes across the entire Lakers community. It takes 1 second to do, but it seriously helps the channel in a massive way. So go ahead and hit that like button right now. It's one of the simplest ways to support the content, but it genuinely makes the biggest difference. Every single thing helps this video travel even further, so don't wait, do it now. Alright, so here's where everything starts getting interesting. Rob Pelinka pulled up to First Take to discuss the Lakers' plans for the offseason. And y'all already know the background here. The Lakers finished the regular season 53-29, won the Pacific Division, handled the Houston Rockets in 6 games during round 1, and then completely fell apart against the Oklahoma City Thunder in a brutal 4-game sweep in the second round. The Thunder exposed every weakness this roster had, and Pelinka absolutely knows that. Then, Luka Doncic suffered that grade 2 hamstring strain right before the second round matchup, and without him on the floor, the Lakers honestly had zero shot. LeBron James, at 41 years old, ended up carrying the entire offense on his back by himself, and it still wasn't enough to save them. So Pelinka gets on the show, and Stephen A. starts throwing him the usual executive questions every executive gets. How do you feel about the season? Are you confident in the coaching staff? What's the plan heading into next year? And Pelinka starts responding with those safe, polished GM answers everybody has heard 1,000 times before. You know, we loved our regular season. We believe in our players. JJ Redick did an incredible job. We just need better health. The same corporate-style front office talk every executive in the NBA gives when they don't want to reveal too much publicly. But then, hold up, because Molly Kareem asked the question that completely changed the energy in the room. She said, "Rob, with the Sacramento Kings potentially making Domantas Sabonis available this offseason, and reports saying the Kings fell to the 7th pick in the draft lottery, is that somebody the Lakers would look into pursuing?" And listen, the expression on Pelinka's face when she asked that question was so crazy, I literally had to rewind the segment because I thought I imagined it. His eyes instantly widened. He leaned back in his chair for a second, then leaned forward with this look like he had been waiting all the interview for somebody to finally bring Sabonis up. And then he dropped the bomb. Pelinka looked straight into the camera and said, "Let me make something very clear. Domantas Sabonis is the exact type of player that has always represented Lakers championship basketball. When I think about what Pau Gasol meant to this organization, what Kareem meant, what Shaq meant, the Lakers have always reached their highest level when we've had a dominant, smart big man capable of doing everything on the floor. Sabonis fits that identity perfectly." Bro, I almost fell off my couch hearing that. A current NBA general manager really went on national television and basically announced to the entire league that he wants another team's franchise superstar. Stephen A. Smith instantly looked stunned. Shannon Sharpe, who was sitting on the panel too, threw both hands on top of his head and just started reacting like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. The whole studio got dead silent for nearly 3 full seconds, and listening on live TV felt like forever. Then Stephen A. looked at Pelinka and said, "Rob, do you even realize what you just admitted on national television?" And Pelinka, without flinching one bit or second-guessing himself, responded, "I know exactly what I said, and I stand on every word." Now, let me explain why this situation is such a huge deal. The Sacramento Kings just wrapped up the season with the worst record in the NBA. They already fired Mike Brown earlier in the year. Then they traded De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs. And now Domantas Sabonis, who was basically their final remaining star player, underwent season-ending surgery back in February after tearing his meniscus. At this point, the Kings are fully entering rebuild territory. Their new general manager, Scott Perry, has reportedly been taking calls on Sabonis since the trade deadline, and multiple organizations around the league are already interested. The Toronto Raptors pushed hard before the deadline, trying to land Sabonis in a package centered around RJ Barrett, but the deal never came together. Meanwhile, the Washington Wizards just secured the #1 overall pick in the lottery, while Sacramento slid all the way down to 7th. Reports from insiders like Mark Stein are saying there is still no guarantee the Kings will move Sabonis. But the truth is, Sacramento appears to be heading toward a completely different timeline, while Sabonis still has about 2 years and roughly $94 million left on his contract. A player making $45.4 million next season on a team with no real direction? Yeah, that usually screams trade incoming.
But hold up, because this is where everything somehow got even crazier. After the commercial break, I honestly thought Pelinka was going to backtrack a little. I figured maybe one of the producers pulled him aside during the break and warned him, "Rob, you cannot be talking this reckless on live television or the league is going to fine you." But nope, when the show came back on, Pelinka looked even more energized than before. He started explaining the basketball fit in detail, like he was already recruiting Sabonis publicly. And I have never seen an NBA GM do anything like that on TV. He said, "Look, I watched Anthony Davis for years. I know exactly what AD becomes when he gets to play the 4. He moves better, he stays healthier, he impacts the game more consistently. But we kept asking AD to handle the 5 because we never truly had a legitimate center next to him. Sabonis completely changes all of that." And then, girl, he dropped the quote everybody is going to be replaying all week long. He said Sabonis is the modern version of Pau Gasol. That's not disrespect toward Pau at all. That's one of the biggest compliments I could possibly give somebody. You're talking about a 6'11 center averaging close to 16 points, over 11 rebounds, and 4 assists a night, while passing out of the high post like a point guard. That is a championship-level piece, and I'm not about to sit here pretending we don't want a player like that. At this point, Stephen A. is losing his mind on live television. He stands up from his chair, starts pointing across the set, and says, "Do y'all understand what's happening right now? A general manager just told the entire world he's going after Domantas Sabonis." Then Shannon Sharpe starts laughing and says Pelinka treating this interview like a full-on free agency presentation. And honestly, that is exactly what this felt like. Pelinka was sending a message not only to Sacramento and not only to the media, but directly to Sabonis himself. He was basically saying, "We want you here. We already have a vision for you. Come help continue Lakers history." But then listen to this, because Pelinka somehow took it even further, and this is probably the part that's going to create the biggest controversy out of everything he said. He started bringing up players on the Lakers roster who could potentially be moved in order for a trade like this to happen. He said, "In this league, if you want something special, you have to be willing to sacrifice something valuable. We have young talent, we have draft picks, and we are open to having those conversations." Now, Pelinka never directly named any players, but listen to this, because the salary numbers basically tell the whole story. Sabonis is set to make $45.4 million next season. In order for the Lakers to legally match that kind of contract in a trade, they would probably need to send out Austin Reeves, who's making around $16 million, Rui Hachimura at roughly $17 million, and then add either D'Lo or multiple role players on top of draft compensation to make the money work. And that is a massive amount of talent leaving the building. Austin Reeves just averaged more than 15 points per game and became one of the biggest fan favorites on the roster. Rui Hachimura has quietly developed into a reliable two-way forward for this team, but Pelinka basically admitted on live television that nobody on this roster is truly untouchable outside of Luka Doncic and LeBron James. And that's when the entire interview suddenly got way more emotional. Pelinka paused for a second, got noticeably quieter, and then said something that honestly revealed just how much pressure he's feeling behind the scenes. He said, "I have the honor of running the most iconic franchise in basketball history, but that honor also comes with enormous responsibility. LeBron James is 41 years old. We don't know exactly how many years we have left with him. Luka Doncic is currently dealing with a hamstring injury that has to be monitored carefully. Our championship window is right now, and I refuse to become the general manager who looks back years later saying we should have been more aggressive. I'm not letting that happen. We're going to be bold. We're going to make decisive moves. And if that means pursuing a blockbuster trade for a player like Sabonis, then that's exactly what we're prepared to do." Man, I'm still trying to process everything I just watched. Now let me give y'all my full breakdown of what this could mean for the Lakers and honestly, the entire NBA landscape. First off, Rob Pelinka just sent a warning shot to every team in the league. He basically looked at Sacramento and said, "Tell us the price because we're coming after him." He also sent a message to the Golden State Warriors and every other organization interested in Sabonis by saying, "We are not playing games here. Move out the way." And at the same time, he told Lakers fans, "We hear all the noise. You want another championship, and we're going to do whatever it takes to chase one." From a basketball standpoint, the fit honestly makes perfect sense. Think about this for a second. Luka Doncic is already one of the greatest playmakers the NBA has ever seen. Before suffering the hamstring injury this season, Luka was averaging 33.5 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 8.3 assists per game. Now, imagine Luka operating the pick and roll with Sabonis instead of relying on DeAndre Ayton or whoever else the Lakers decide to throw at the center position. Sabonis is legitimately one of the greatest passing big men this game has ever had, right up there in conversations with Nikola Jokic. He averaged over 4 assists per game this season while playing on a struggling Kings roster with almost no real direction. In JJ Redick's motion offense or even a Steve Kerr-style system, Sabonis would probably become even more dangerous because he'd finally have elite shooters spacing the floor around him. The high-low chemistry between Luka and Sabonis could honestly become impossible to defend. And then, hold up, because once you add LeBron James as a third playmaker into that equation, defenses would have absolutely no clue who they're supposed to stop. But here's my concern, and I think this is the biggest question every Lakers fan should be asking themselves right now. Is the asking price simply too expensive? Because if you're giving up Austin Reeves, who has been incredible as a secondary scorer and creator, along with Rui Hachimura, who gives you defense and scoring versatility at the forward spot, plus future draft picks, are the Lakers actually improving enough to justify it?
Or are they just sacrificing depth for another star on a roster that already has 2 superstars? Personally, I think the answer comes down to one thing: health. If Luka Doncic stays healthy, if LeBron stays healthy, and you add Sabonis to that core, then yes, that absolutely looks like a championship-level starting lineup. But the reason the Lakers just got swept was because Luka got hurt. So what happens if injuries hit again after you've already traded away Reeves and Hachimura? Then suddenly you're looking at a very dangerous situation. And the other thing I keep thinking about is how Sacramento views all of this from their side. The one thing that keeps coming back into my mind is the Sacramento Kings side of all this. The Kings and the Lakers both play in the same division. Yeah, Sacramento may be rebuilding right now, but would they seriously send their franchise player to a division rival? Would Scott Perry really want to watch Domantas Sabonis throw on a Lakers jersey and dominate his young rebuilding squad 4 times every single season? That's a brutal situation to even think about. But listen, at the end of the day, if the Lakers put the best package on the table, Sacramento almost has no choice but to consider it. That's just how NBA business works. And yes, I know some people are bringing up the whole Draymond Green situation too, but honestly, that feels more like a Warriors problem than a Lakers problem. For the Lakers, the basketball fit itself is incredibly clean. There's no drama, no weird history, and no tension between Sabonis and anybody currently on the Lakers roster. This is strictly about basketball fit, and on paper, it honestly looks perfect. Sabonis protecting the paint, controlling the boards, and throwing outlet passes to Luka and LeBron in transition? Girl, are you serious? That sounds like an NBA highlight reel waiting to happen every single night. So here's where everything stands right now, Laker Nation. Rob Pelinka just went on national television and basically declared war on the rest of the NBA. He wants Domantas Sabonis. He plans on aggressively pursuing Domantas Sabonis, and he's clearly willing to pay a serious price to make it happen. Now, whether Sacramento is actually willing to negotiate, whether Golden State tries to outbid the Lakers, or whether another mystery team suddenly jumps into the conversation, those questions are all going to unfold over the next few weeks. But one thing is absolutely undeniable after today. The Los Angeles Lakers are no longer satisfied with simply making the playoffs. They're not celebrating just winning one playoff series anymore. They got embarrassed by OKC in that sweep, and you can tell that loss is still bothering everybody inside that organization. Pelinka is trying to erase that pain with one of the biggest offseason moves we've seen in years. Now, I need to hear from y'all. Do you think the Lakers should really trade Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura to land Domantas Sabonis? Is the fit truly as perfect as Pelinka made it sound on television? Or would the Lakers be sacrificing way too much depth to make this happen? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I genuinely want to know where Laker Nation stands on this situation. Because listen, this is shaping up to be the biggest NBA storyline of the entire offseason, and I'm going to be right here covering every single update that comes out. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because when the next big piece of news drops, and trust me, it definitely will, you're going to want to hear about it here first. Laker Nation, the purple and gold might be getting ready to make a massive move. Stay locked in. I'll catch y'all in the next video.